Mayor, I want to continue the conversation that Assemblymember Bronson started around public safety, because I too am concerned and frustrated and want to support you as much as we can comes to reducing gun violence. You mentioned investing in SNUG and GIVE, and those are programs that we definitely want to continue to fund. But you've been around the block for a long time. You know a lot of the not-for-profits in our community based on your time on the school board and as a community leader. I'm wondering if, and this is really kind of more of brainstorming, but how we can help you with state resources by investing in some of those smaller not-for-profits or community violence interrupter, groups that are out there, whether it's Rock the Peace, whether it's some of the work that Justin's doing with Untrapped Ministries, who maybe haven't been the recipient of some of the funding we've received in the past, like Center for Youth and some of the other wonderful organizations that have been doing good work in this space. Because I think we need to be nimble. I think we need to try things differently when it comes to the city of Rochester and how we tackle gun violence. And I'm wondering if you could comment on, you're bringing new leadership to City Hall. Who are some of the new organizations and ways, new partnerships that we can fund that may tackle this issue of gun violence differently?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that we need to do is it's an all hands on deck. And in order to deal with violent situations, you have to use every multiple tools within the toolbox. So if there's an organization, for example, that is good with dealing not only with the young man that might be getting ready to pick up a gun, but can also deal with the whole family. And a lot of this violence, it stems from things that are also happening in the household. Because, for example, if you have a person that is involved in violence, you also have to deal with that person, but then you also have to get into that household. So any organizations that is looking at the whole family, because if you're a young man, you're 14 years old, you may have an older brother that might be 21, that might be influencing you. So you can't just deal with that 14-year-old. You also have to go in and deal with the older brother that might be in the house, or the grandmother or mother or father that also might be living there, that also may need some type of services to go along with what's happening in that household. So we're interested in partnering with organizations that looks at it from the holistic standpoint. No 14-year-old grows up and says, hey, I decide I want to pick up a gun. It's the environment that they're in that sometimes is created to make them feel as though they need to get a gang, join a gang, or pick up that weapon. So we have to look at non-traditional organizations who may not be large and go through the process of understanding. They may not have a 501c3. They might need to be part of a host agency. And we're interested in looking at all of those types of organizations as part of our effort. Victor Saunders, who is running all of our violence reduction efforts, the one thing we did was we centralized them all under one place. And what we're saying is that all of these multiple organizations that kind of operate like octopus arms, we're saying we want you to centralize under one place, see how we can fill any of the gaps that are missing, and then get those folks to coordinate and work together. Because not only do we need the traditional organizations that might have operated in the space before, because we are living during different times, we need to try different things. And I will tell you, we had something similar to this in the 90s in Rochester when we had high levels of violence. This is a very similar time to 1993 in Rochester. The only difference is that I have never seen young people with access to the firepower that they have now. That's one of the big differences. Yes, there was gun violence before, but now the levels of what I'm seeing, I have a book on the computer that I can pull up right now that shows 14-year-olds holding firearms that not even police officers or hunters have. So we have to find ways to reach those people in order to get them to go down a path of positivity. Otherwise, we'll be paying for it, but we'll just pay for it later on when we lock them up. And that's much more expensive than giving somebody a job that pays them $15 an hour working 20 hours a week. I'd rather do that than spend the time locking them up.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, Mayor, and your preventative approach is refreshing. I also commend you for consolidating all of those octopus arms under your office so that we can have a centralized solution, and we stand ready as a delegation to work together with you to make sure that you have the resources to be successful.